everybody make some noise and give it up for the 16 teams in Phase 1 of the National PUBG League. Let me hear you, baby! Welcome, everybody. We are live in Los Angeles at the OGN Super Arena for Phase 1 of the National PUBG League. This journey began last year at the NPL qualifiers with over 100 teams battling out for 32 spots in the preseason. After a ferocious week of competition, 16 teams punched their ticket in to Phase 1. Over the next 6 weeks, they'll be competing for a title of North America's Best and $200,000. Yo, that's enough of me. Yo, Matrim, Poro Moses, what's going on up there?
Oh, yes. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here at the OGN Super Arena in Manhattan Beach, and we are ready for NPL. Woo! I'm Moses. This is Matrim and Borosaurus. I'm a little excited. A little bit excited.
I know. We're happy to have you here.
I mean, there's flames.
I'm excited. I mean, we have everything that's going on. Get everything kicked off inside of this. Woo. But, I mean, there is so much that's going on. Especially, we have had some changes from the preseason. So if you guys tuned in on the preseason, there is tons of new things that we need to talk about.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, for one, we got Moses.
We do. It's always nice to have Moses
Hey, y'all.
here.
Hello.
Oh, you gotta throw it in there at least once, right? All right, so let's kind of give a little bit of a walk down. Naturally, we do have the circles that we had set up that we're going through the preseason now have been changed up. So it's going to be a little bit faster action. Games are going to be a little bit shorter.
Yes.
Could be there's going to be some consequences. We might see a couple of teams changing their drops and everything, but really, the point system is going to be the big factor for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is completely meta shifting, and it's going to be interesting to see how these players and teams start to kind of adjust their gameplay style to this. But as you can see, first place, 10 points. Second place, 6, and it goes down from there till 1 point at 7th and 8th. But 9th through 16th get no points. 1 point per kill is so huge.
I mean, that's a huge influencing factor. Naturally, we'll be bouncing around between 2 different maps, and we're going to be on first person as well. But this is going to be the premier way to watch North American PUBG as we move through this. And I got to say, I'm really excited as we're moving into our first day today. But look at all the action we have stacked up coming down the line.
Obviously, every weekend up until the 22nd, we'll be having the game day action here. And then on the 22nd and 24th, we have the National PUBG League Royale, where everyone from Contenders and the NPL battle it out for a huge cash prize.
It's going to be absolutely huge, and it's going to be an interesting way to see how the Contenders now stack up to the NPL teams. But then we're going to come back for 2 more weeks of NPL action before we finally close things out with the relegation rounds. We have the bottom 6 teams from NPL will play the top 10 teams from Contenders to determine who will be in NPL for Split 2.
So we have the full-on path to pro, making your way all the way to the NPL. But here are our first 16 teams that fought their way through the preseason with a slight modification of one of those logos.
Yeah, there they go. You might recognize the little green panther there in the bottom. That used to be Adapt XD. It is now Endemic Gaming. And they will be the first green team I've seen on PUBG in quite some time.
This is true. We don't
It's out of
see
Alliance.
But we also have Lazarus. It's a nice pink color.
I know, it's lovely.
I mean, there's also the teams that we do recognize. Obviously, Cloud9, Ghost Gaming, Envy, Space Station, Noble, all part of PUBG from the beginning. Tempo Storm can't be left out as well. And there's a lot of familiar faces here as we have these first 16 teams. It's going to be all of those journeys coming to this point now. They're going to be battling it out for the first time in NPL.
And naturally, if you tuned in during the preseason, we're going to be trying to feature 4 teams as we move through each round, and they're going to change every single round.
Yes.
But our first 4 teams are going to be United, Tempo Storm, Shoot to Kill, and Lazarus.
Absolutely, a lot of good stories to talk about between these guys, United and Tempo Storm in particular. You can see Tempo Storm finishing the preseason finals in first place, but they only just managed to get into NPL through the Contenders process as it was. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Tempo Storm having a good performance, especially on the last day. But what stands out to me now is that kills. That's something that really shows how aggressive they are. When they need to go out and get something done, they are not afraid to do it.
And specifically with this new point system that very much rewards kills. I mean, the way it works out is kills are 2/3 of the total points. Survival is still big, but really only if you survive until the end. So with 4th place in kill totals, Tempo Storm looking in a very interesting place right now.
Absolutely, and you got to keep in mind the speed of the circles and the reduced amount of time time between the circles as well. So these fights that are going to be setting up are going to have to be completed lightning fast, and then so they're going to have to transition into the next part of the circle.
Taking a look at Lazarus and Shoot to Kill. Shoot to Kill, for me, another great team. A team that's been around for a long time. They are just as aggressive. They do great damage per round, but they have a little bit of trouble finishing those kills. They need to do a little bit better if they want to gain those very important kill points. Lazarus as well. They are, I think, underperforming to their potential, but still a solid team looking to improve through the first half of the season.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, we've talked about Shoot to Kill is just, they're one of these teams that's been around for the scene for so long. I mean, they're just one of these teams that we expect to do so well as we move into different rounds.
Well, now we can see the head-to-head player stats between two of United's finest, Taylor J and Dill Hero. You can see Taylor J with 6th place in kills, 9th in damage, but only 54th in time survived. Dill Hero, not much better there.
Well, I mean, we also have Taylor J that was hitting some crazy shots through the preseason. Yeah. I mean, definitely clip-worthy as we moved through there. But Dill Hero also had these huge moments to shine where he came up and he essentially 1v6'd multiple teams. Yeah. And I know it sounds weird to say 1v6, but he was getting third-partied. He managed to take down 2 different teams at one time. It was ridiculous.
If you're Taylor J, you're going out for those kills, but that time survived is telling of getting those kills. If you put yourself on the limb to be aggressive, you're going to get punished time and time again. And for Taylor J, that 54th in survival time needs to be improved.
You got to stay alive longer to get your kill count higher if you're not intending to go for, the first place 10 points or the second place 6 points. You got to get your money somehow. And United, I think, is through the kills. I think you'll find them doing better.
We keep talking about all these really cool moments that happen through the preseason. Instead of us just talking about it, it might be a little bit easier for you guys to go ahead and take a look for yourself. So we'll go ahead and give you a little content package so that way you can kind of see how everything broke down.
Content.
My name is Tom Bano. In-game, I'm called Pistola Time. I'm the in-game leader for E United.
I'm Dill Hero. I'm 21 years old. I come from Quebec in Canada, and I'm a main sniper for E United.
My name is Andrew Geisinger. My in-game name is Geis. I play for E United. I'm the captain of our PUBG team.
I'm Taylor Johnson, also known as Taylor J, and I play for E United, and I'm the fragger for the team.
Pistola Time's in-game leader. He kind of just took over for our other teammate, Vegas. So he was our in-game leader at the time, and then Pistola just kind of worked his way into the role and stepped up, and he's really good at it.
I've been on the team for not even 6 months. I do all the communication and the early on plan, and then I say, okay, we're going to do that. And then we try to communicate to make that plan happen.
I bring the sniper skills. When it comes to we need to crash a compound, I take a pick, I snipe one, and then we push, we crash a compound.
Dill Hero's got insane aim. Geis holds us all together, really good fragger as well.
Taylor's just an all-around aggressive fragger. Guy's nuts, he clutches up games and shoots some heads for us.
Our team did pretty well in the preseason. Finals, we didn't do that great, but overall we did really good.
We were inconsistent, that's the thing, because we played too aggressive early game. We took fights when we didn't have to, and that cost us bad placement sometimes.
We finished last, and I think everyone was mentally tired, and then it just added up on top of each other after every single game.
Overall, I think we were practicing our playstyle that we want to kind of perfect towards this new point system that's going to be in the NPL, and I think we had a good showing as far as that goes.
One thing we're looking to change is to maybe not be so aggro in the beginning, but more towards the middle and late game.
I think we have a very different playstyle than other teams.
I would say our team's play style is aggressive when we need to be. We like to take map control even if we're in a good spot in the zone. Having map control really gives you a good advantage in the games.
I think it's a play style that needs refining, but I think it's working pretty good for us, especially because we have a lot of really strong fraggers on our team.
We have a really good chemistry together. We're never mad at each other.
We all work hard. We're all friends with each other. So it's just a fun group of people to work with.
I think we can win the whole thing. We definitely have the potential to. We're hoping for a top 3, but I think we could win the whole thing.
All right, so I gotta say, I love United when they play, and I love the fact that they're so aggressive so early. It makes me sad that they're talking about changing that. I don't want them to. I want them to keep being active with it.
Big thing for me through that is talking about how they don't tilt, how they stay cohesive as a team. We've seen them in the low end of scoreboards at different tournaments, and having the ability to rally and come back is a huge part of a strong PUBG team.
It is one thing to say that, though. It is another thing entirely to actually do it. We have seen United kind of tilt a little bit on when they do poorly at the beginning of a day, but you know, it's not to be said that, I mean, these guys are so damn good. It doesn't really matter for them. I'm with kind of with Matt here. I want to see them keep that aggressive play style going, try to get those kills.
All right, now we've got Tempo Storm. I mean, we talked about the swan song there towards the end. They have that Hail Mary game to qualify in the very last round, but man, they put on a performance to follow through on the next day. Managed to get first place when the money was on the line. But you can see, this is a very strong team in trying to get as many kills as they possibly can. But behind that, they kind of go in mid-range as far as placement goes.
And you know, with Tempo Storm, they have a lot of talent in Zampa as a fragger. One of the best in the whole world, I would say, as far as fragging ability is concerned. So we'd like to see more of that from them, and especially from Zampa.
And here we have Shoot to Kill. You can see that average kills per round sitting at a comfortable number 8. Damage per round, though, kind of indicative of a lot more fighting than they normally do. So you would expect eventually over time those kills to kind of level out and kind of increase a little bit, rather.
Securing those kills is a massive important part of making sure that damage leads somewhere.
Yeah.
You don't get points for damage, you get points for kills only. So you have to finish that damage, get those kills, and stay aggressive.
Oh, without a doubt. And that's one of the things that Shoot to Kill tries to live up to. I mean, their name is Shoot to Kill. They want to try to capitalize off of that. But Lazarus, if we're talking about all these teams that we just went through, these are like tried and true PUBG North America teams. Lazarus got a lot of tried and true players, but kind of a newer team, all things considered.
You have to gel as a team, and sometimes when you're coming together for one specific purpose, in their case, it was getting to NPL, they still have some work to do. They have to keep it going, but they have a ton of talent, and I'd love to see more from them soon.
Yeah, these guys gel really well as a team so far. We just need to see the results on paper to really back it up. And I think as time goes, as they get kind of more used to playing with each other, we'll see those averages start to kind of genuinely increase. They find themselves up for a live late game so many times, but
yeah,
it just you gotta see those kills come up, man.
And a big factor on this is we did talk about the fact that there's new circles. There's going to be a couple of changes go through. We do have the way that the point system is going to break down. That's going to kind of change the way the early game is played for a certain thing.
Yeah.
So some of these newer teams can kind of don't have to worry about breaking old habits, for lack of a better term. So it's going to be cool to see how these older teams adjust to the new point system and how the newer teams just react to it.
Yeah, one of the most interesting things to me in comparison to the preseason, right? The new circle settings. In the preseason, we saw the edge and playing the edge be such a beneficial thing for a lot of these teams, right? They were coming up with a ton of kills, but now I don't know if the circle settings going as fast as they do permit that kind of play style. We'll have to see.
All right, so we keep talking about who we think is going to be awesome as far as these rounds go, but naturally you guys have a chance to be awesome as well. If you look over, if you're on Twitch right now, you can mouse over the screen and you should see a little helmet. If you click on that helmet, you can choose a team and you can put down who you think is going to win this next round and give you a chance to win some skins.
Some skins?
I know.
It's what makes the world go around.
So it's really true.
You have a chance to win. And, you know, we were talking a lot about who all these different players and, you know, how they need to gel as a team. But the reality is that these are all top-level, world-class performers in PUBG. It is a completely different game than what you're used to at home. When we're playing together, we're getting dominated by these guys on the left, right, center. We're in the North American queues, if you run across these guys, it's going to be a problem. And that's everyone on the stage right now. There is no room for error.
Yeah.
Whenever you look at this level of play, it just gets so ridiculous. Rotations are so complicated because people can just kill you from so far away. It's a constant adjust and adapt phase that you have to deal with when you're playing competitive PUBG.
And there's no more, you know, oh, this is my first LAN excuse or anything. These guys have all played a LAN before. Right in the very seats that they're sitting in right now, in the very stadium, gorgeous stadium, I might add, that they're sitting in right now. So
state of the art.
Absolutely. You see all those LED panels, man. There's so many little.
I still just can't get the fact.
Ridiculous amount of.
Zampa just shaved his head, just to shave his head, and every time I see Zampa now, it feels wrong.
He said he was a big fan of me, and then he felt bad that everyone had hair but me. So he decided to take one for the team, and he's gone the Moses route.
Look at that, showing solidarity with Moses. I love it.
Appreciate it.
Well, by the way, chat, that's totally not what happened.
Just
letting you know in advance, that's not the way that went at all.
That's the way it went for me, okay?
In your head, that's you live in the Moses head canon. This is the way that it works. You just perceive the world in your own fashion.
Absolutely.
Well, so what happens now if he has a rough first day? Do we say,
"Oh, I'm growing
thanks,
the beard.
Moses.
I'm growing the beard. He's growing the hair back."
Okay, there you go. Easy peasy. Well, Tempo, as we said, not not the most stellar performance during the qualifier rounds, but after they made their way in, they kind of wiped the sweat off their brow, and they said they got together that night and said, you know what, tomorrow we're coming out and we're making a statement. And they absolutely did so.
And naturally Shoot to Kill. This is one of the teams that I really expect to perform well on Miramar.
Yeah.
Historically, it's kind of been one of their maps. But we didn't really see that in the preseason. They seem to have a couple of struggles with drops and rotations as they made their way through. So a team that tends to play quite aggressive and move aggressively could be interesting to see on these new circle settings.
I think the reason why Shoot to Kill had such a hard time on Miramar during qualifiers was because we saw so many far south circles, these southern, southwest circles.
I mean, Miramar Southwest was preseason. That's essentially all it was.
They're a northern team.
Yeah.
They play from the north, and when things go north, they tend to do better. If things are farther south, when they have to kind of find themselves amongst all these other teams, it gets a little bit more difficult. So if we see these Miramar circles heading a little bit farther to the north, I think Shoot to Kill should be okay.
So looking at Lazarus, we have now 4 team members. We've already talked about how they need to gel a little bit better as a team, but they have individual skill there. And for these guys, it's going to be just getting the reps in, really. I think just the experience of being in this environment, playing on these setups, and just sticking together and staying calm through the first round. The jitters are going to be across the room right now. So for these guys, it's going to be important to get over that very quickly.
Well, I love the fact whenever we saw Lazarus and we saw their cams, they were all just like happy. They were joking around a little bit. You can tell that they were just trying to get in the mood. We got the first round that's going to be coming through. They're not letting stress get to them, and that tends to happen with newer teams.
The confidence that they can believe, that they need to believe in themselves that they can win a 4v4 fight.
At any given time. That's kind of the thing about PUBG specifically. But I know we keep talking about new circle settings and the way the new point system worked, but that's very, very important. I mean, we've been getting little birds tweeting in our ears telling us that there's a potential chance that we might even see a couple of hot drops coming in as still drop locations are contested at the time. And Lazarus may be one of those teams that's in the contested zone.
Yeah, some interesting decisions and changes being made. But hey, we don't need to talk about it anymore. We get to go right into game now and figure out what's about to happen. Here we go, week 1, day 1 on Arangel. Let's go, NPL.
All right, and you can see plane is up in the air. We've got Oxy making their way back over towards the west. Smoke and Ace is doing a long drop, probably making their way back over towards Severny. But one thing to note, almost all of the NPL teams have shifted away from Military Base Island. That was Envy's go-to drop location, and they don't go there anymore. So that's where all of this shift in the last couple of days has really happened with drops.
Yeah. You're going to want to stay away from the extremes of the map, especially with that earlier zone being so short. Being center and being present there is going to be massive. So for Envy, they're already headed over towards that Yasnaya region.
Now look at this. We do have Noble that is capitalizing off of the drop spot that now Envy has vacated, but Lazarus is one of those teams that's still trying to find the proper home for themselves. Shoot to Kill, one of our focus teams, already inside their UAZs, making their cross. Looks like they're making their way over to some form of safety.
We do need to give credit where credit is due. Smoke and Aces dropping in Severny, basically bullying Shoot to Kill out of their loot spot that they've had for, I mean, months upon months now. And, you know, Smoke and Aces drops there a couple of times. And look, we have our first circle.
First circle is going to pop on that northwestern side, and that is going to be great for Oxy. That's going to be a situation for them where they're already in the center of the zone. They've got a great loot spot all to themselves.
Oh, McCoy, what did you do? These things happen. Looks like he was just jumping off a vehicle a little bit too quick there. And yeah, there's nothing around him, so he didn't get shot by anything. Oh,
who's going to be the first one dead in the first game in the first day?
Oh, McCoy. He's probably going to have some. I love how, look on the minimap, none of his teammates are in no rush. They're like, McCoy, you did this to yourself. We'll get over there when we get over there, man.
Well, Balak making his way down the street. He's going to be running with hands out, trying to get over there. He doesn't have a vehicle to get over there any faster. But, you know, this is one of those things. I mean, it does throw the timing off a little bit, especially when you're leading far away.
Press F if you're excited to get off your motorcycle too early.
Well, there we go. We've got the hero, Balak. He's making his cross over here, gonna come save McCoy. Now, one thing to note though, this is just kind of a free down. So naturally, next time McCoy does get downed, if he does get downed, he could bleed out much faster. So it's gonna be a lot more pressure to try to keep McCoy alive, who tends to be one of the people that tend to be their pusher.
Yeah, well, and like I was saying, you know, you look at where they are compared to where the new circle is. That's a long rotation that they still have to make. And now this is time taken away from Balak getting to loot, time taken away from McCoy, obviously. But you know, we'll have to see what happens.
But here we are inside the circle now with Tempo Storm. Tempo Storm known for trying to dropping around the Gatka area, separating out, doing what was referred to as kind of the Tempo Storm drop or trash looting. They'll kind of separate as far as possible, get as many of these little complexes as they can, and then try to regroup as quick as possible. Now, The big factor comes into play whenever you have the circle and it pops on you and you're trying to do one of these strategies. That means rotations are going to come into your area very quickly, so you need to regroup very fast.
And if you're Zampa specifically, you want to make sure that that very prime region of Gatka stays yours. But we call it the Tempo Strat for a reason. They've done it for forever. It's almost never changed for Tempo Storm, and almost everyone on the map is going to know that this is where Tempo is going to be. So that's either going to be a question where they want to exploit that and be aggressive or avoid the area entirely.
I mean, Tempo Storm created this, what, about a year ago, year and a half ago at this point? Like, towards the beginning of all of PUBG competitive being played. Everybody knows where they're going to be going. But Lazarus is really the big X factor, as they keep having to shift around the map.
Yeah, Lazarus looting up around Milta Power, Milta Minor here, just to the east of Ghost. We're gonna have to see where they decide, what kind of path they decide to take to rotate into this first circle, because they are, as we said, surrounded by Ghost and E United.
Typically, you'll see people in that region go far to the north and try and skirt the northern end of the map and get into these circles. That's learned from teams like FaZe, and that's you know, this is the FaZe loot area, and that's the FaZe rotation strategy. We'll see if Lazarus wants to replicate that.
Now, one thing to note, though, Shoot to Kill tends to drop over towards that Severny area. They were forced out, as we saw towards the very beginning of this game. They're now playing around that Stalber location, so long rotations around to the north might have teams bump into Shoot to Kill just consequently, just based off of rotation paths.
Yeah, we do see Shoot to Kill, as you said, a couple of members up in Stalber, one member off by himself, and then we also have one member of Shoot to Kill right in the dead center of the circle, trying to gain some ground here, a position for his squad to rotate to.
Taylor J already in rotation, and this is a symptom of that first circle being so short. They're basically losing 2.5 minutes off their loot time, and that means that E United has to move early, and they are going to go and jump in their vehicles, get out of the prison, and make a break for it.
Now, while it is taking time away from their loot time, we also have to mention that loot has been increased, right? So they can typically loot up in as fast as 3 to 4 minutes.
Now, one of the things we did talk about, one of the potential changes that could come with these new circle and point systems are traps or repositions coming into play. Most of these teams are going to try to get to locations where they can get free kills in rotation as fast as possible, as now we see with YTemp Fate posting down around these squads, trying to catch Cloud9 on rotation, but looks like Cloud9 could make it fairly safe. But they're jumping out. Looks like they want to go for a little bit of a fight.
Cloud9 cajoling on top of the hill. YTemp Fate is in a decent hold spot, but this is going to be an interesting fight. Petror taking those mini shots, trying to land that very precise headshot.
They're going to try to make it up over the hillside, but this is a lot of damage starting to come back over towards Cloud9. They're going to have to cross over that hillside, but I think that they should be pretty clear from here on out. Oh, they're going to connect on the outside as K-Mine's taking a lot of damage. Really, it's just going to be that white picket fence saving K-Mine's life.
Yeah, Cloud9 really wanted to take that fight with YTemp Fate, but they were not allowed to because they started getting third-partied from uphill by Oxy.
Now, this comes back to those fast circles. Everybody's having to move very quickly, so teams that do go for these positions like this really do get to dictate a lot of rotations. They can force teams to move in different directions.
Speaking of that center position, YTemp Fate, we just saw them basically rebuff Cloud9 entirely.
Wooly trying to make his way away from Pistola time. That's a lot of damage back over to Wooly, but looks like he makes it over to safety, but that's two members of E United just patiently waiting for him. They're right on the edge of the circle. The rest of E United now coming back over to meet over. Wooly is all by his lonesome at the time, though, so interesting to see how he tries to play around this.
Yeah, the problem for Wooly, he was the tail end of his rotation part of his squad. The rest of his squad was able to get through. Now Wooly stuck all by himself here, but it looks like United is going to bail off of it.
He's going to hear it. Yeah, he's going to hear them hopping in their vehicles. Now he has to worry about whether or not it's a trap, because that's a big factor at this early stage. You have to assume people might just go for a reposition on you. It can be very dangerous.
And this is a United, going back to what they said before. They don't want to engage in these early game fights. They'd rather wait till mid to late game.
Oh, Wooly got the gas station all to himself now.
Sticking to your strategy going to be important here. That northern side also starting to fill up. We have two teams now getting pretty close to each other, but that center zone so dense right now.
Simplicity, we talked about it. These guys were so dominant going into preseason. They won so many rounds, specifically on this map. But Shoot to Kill running right by E United. E United was looking for it, but it's actually going to be a run over as Dill Hero runs over Taylor J as they jumped out to try to get the kill onto this. And now the UAZ rolls down the hillside away from him.
And that's going to be a bit of an error there as Taylor J jumps out and gets hit by his teammate. That's what happens on those quick dismounts. And this is Shoot to Kill grabbing a very strong compound. The best thing about this spot is it's so hard to breach.
All right, now we have, it's going to be Dill Hero looking back down that hillside, taking a couple of shots. Going to force a little bit more rotations coming through. This is the problem with it, with the speed that these teams have to move at. It's a quick adaptation period coming into play. But now, E United deciding to go ahead, muscle their way back up this hill, try to vie for a little bit more control. Shoot to Kill is just kind of circling around them. Both these guys vying for similar locations on the circle.
Yeah, as Moses was saying before, this location that Shoot to Kill currently holding down, we seem to always see circles end right on top of it. However, we don't see a lot of kills coming out from it.
Tempo Storm at Zampa, we talked about his ability to frag, and now he's taking shots at the moving vehicles of Wildcard. He's going to jump in his UAZ and try and reposition.
But look, we haven't seen Tempo fully regroup yet. They're still caught off in this rotation. They were trying to recollect. We talked about that's kind of the risk of this position.
Oh,
but
Dre.
your boy Dre, these guys know this area so well. So they're finding all the good spots to try to catch any kills off this they can. Sharp shot narrowly making it back behind that building.
Wildcard is doing a good job of getting position on Tempo Storm. Dre is out in the open and taking shots, and Wildcard is taking buildings away from them if they choose to stop. Looks like they're going to move a little bit further ahead. Tempo Storm has them encircled, but you can also look at a Wildcard having 4 in the deep heart of Tempo Storm strategy.
I do like this aggression coming out of Tempo, though. They do see these vehicles making their way past them. They're going to stop and take these shots rather than try to give up a little bit of position.
We just see two different teams leapfrogging each other back and forth. Back over here with E United now looking towards Shoot to Kill. These guys have been on each other this whole time. New circle's going to pop up, and it's going to be Oxy that's right over here next to this, but still, Wildcard Tempo Storm going back and forth with each other.
The factor here in this next circle is the river moving center through the zone.
Yeah.
It's going to make it so you have to choose a side. You can't cross twice. It makes it so dangerous.
And it's the gamble point, but here we go. Extreme getting caught up into a fight with Zampa right on the other side of it, but look down at the minimap. There's 3 members of Tempo Storm. Extreme is all by his lonesome right now. He has to know that this is a bad spot. Gonna hop in the UAZ, try to make it away, but there's so many different angles. When the rest of the members of Tempo Storm crest the top of that hill, this could be very dangerous for Extreme as he's just trying to run out, and here you go. Zampa has the line of sight, and that's gonna be a drop, and Extreme is down and out.
And that is revenge, as Extreme was the one who downed and wiped your boy Dre. So Tempo down to 3 now, but they pick up 2 kills in the process.
Now, I do want to follow back up with what you were talking, Moses. With that river running right through this, a lot of these teams are going to have to make a gamble. Do they think it's going to go north, or do they think it's going to go south? Because it is so hard to cross. There's all these little mini bridge camps that can pop up.
The thing you need to think about is how much landmass is in that the southern side of the zone. It looks like it favors the south, and those teams on the south aren't going to want to move. But there's so many other teams who rotated north early who are going to be stuck on the northern side.
Y10 Fate and Cloud9 in absolutely amazing positions right now. As you can see, they are controlling the 2 bridges, the 2 main bridges that you would see teams try to make their way over. And there are so many teams up to the north, Matchroom.
All right, so we do have Shoot to Kill that's posted up right over here. We've been seeing them on a regular basis getting caught into a couple of long-range skirmishes. They do have E United next to them and naturally Oxy in a very similar location. But if they move back down the hillside, that's where Y10 Fate that you were talking about, Hora, where they're at.
The Y10 Fate position is going to be very strong. We saw them already kind of get into it with Cloud9, but they are not going to move. They're dead center. They're in a great spot to hold 2 houses. Y10 Fate doesn't have to do anything.
This is such a potential huge bloodbath. Whenever you have E United, Shoot to Kill, and Envy all this close to each other, depending on how this next circle shifts, we could see so much violence along that hill.
Absolutely. Shoot to Kill obviously in the best position right now as they do have control over that compound, but I doubt we'll see E United or Oxy try to push into this unless they're able to get a quick knock.
Oxy just keeps looking back up the hillside. They've been hearing these firefights. They're trying to figure out exactly what's going on. That's kind of the downside of Oxy's position. They keep hearing all these firefights at the top of the hill, but they don't get clear sight lines onto it. Meanwhile, E United knows exactly who's right next to him. These guys have been popping shots back and forth at each other for about 5-6 minutes now.
Speaking of which, there's small skirmishes everywhere. Again, we are moving very quickly through these early phases. Phase 2 already shrinking. We're going to be moving through Phase 3 very quickly, and that's when things start to get tight with that river being such a prevalent feature in the map.
I mean, you can tell so many of these players are wanting to have a good first round. A lot of passive play coming in right now. Everybody's just trying to get as much information as possible. This is their first round for the NPL. Nobody wants to be that first team to go out. We've already had the first person die, and technically first person knocked. Poor McCoy there.
Yeah. Well, even though McCoy was knocked, they did manage to rally. You can see Ghost all by themselves in the southern part of the circle in the southeast, but Lazarus might be making a rotation right into him.
Cloud9 still dealing with pressure from northern teams. They're in a split. Looks like they're going to want to rejoin, but Shoot to Kill going to do something similar. They're going to try and just bring back Adam. They don't want to lose anyone outside of their very strong compound, and this is going to be a nice position hold for Shoot to Kill.
What's interesting was you talked about that river, Moses. The way it's set up, a lot of these teams rotated very far to the north, assuming the circle was going to keep continuing north. Very few teams down towards the south. So that means that a lot of these teams, if we see a shift back down towards the south, could be very bloody, but it's not going to go that way. Instead, it's just going to go a little bit further north of the river. So, Space Station Gaming in a great position, but so many teams now going to have to move.
Y10 Fate is now in a perfect choke point position hold. They're going to be able to shoot at so many teams coming north, and now the teams on that southern side are going to have to decide how they want to rotate. It's going to be a tough road.
This is such a huge shift here as you see all the teams from the south now getting in their vehicles, trying to make their way over. I'm kind of concerned about what Envy is doing. It looks like they might be trying to hold, see if they can see anybody coming from the northern side, from the eastern side, but other than that, just kind of holding their position.
Well, where Envy is at, there's still just a touch of a bridge still inside the circle, and we've been seeing Envy try to set up these traps. So that's going to make them a little bit later in rotation, but they do have at least a foothold. The direct time we have
Station.
Lazarus that's going to have to rotate. We have Wildcard that's going to have to rotate. Naturally, Vicious Gaming, Ghost, Noble, and Tempo Storm, as well as Endemic.
So looking at the way the map is set up, we can already see Endemic making that wide push on the bridge. That's going to give them an opportunity to come in and maybe play the edge a little bit here, but those middle teams are still fighting for position.
Actually, you can see where Cloud9 is at. That's such a great position to be at as long as the circle favors it. On those hillsides all around them, so many teams are looking back down. This part of the map is just so hilly, so all these teams that kind of move up to these high ground positions can look back down inside these valleys, and it really becomes a kill box down there.
The hill that Cloud9 is holding is an important spot, but it's hard to defend.
And now here we go. We've got Shoot to Kill holding down a very popular compound. This building complex is right up on top of a hillside, so it's kind of hard to fully approach onto it. There's only about 50 meters, but on the other side of the hill, you can have this really sneaky path to look back down inside of it.
United's coming on the wrong side of that compound. You just touched on that. There is a generator building on the south side of that compound. That's the can opener. That's the key. They need to get that hold, but trying to get up on this this approach that United is going, they're going to have to get Dill Hero to hit a nice headshot and push off that down. Otherwise, this is a non-starter for United.
They're just going to kind of throw a couple of shots back and forth at this stage. Just kind of get a feel for each other.
Yeah, I don't think United really wants to take this fight as much as they, you know, even though they're right next to each other, even though that compound is desirable, I think they'd rather take the few shots here, maybe get it down here and there, loosen up the helmets, but I think they're watching to make sure that nobody wraps all of them from the north side.
We talked about that southern hillside. Look at this. We got some new neighbors that are coming over here. It's going to be Envy that's sneaking up. Might have clear sight lines back down on that angle, so a lot of potential skirmish points that are starting to break down as the circle is getting just too small for 59 players.
Shoot to Kill is in an interesting position. They have that great compound, but they're on the edge of the zone. If it shifts off of them, that means all those teams are going to have to move center to the zone again, and here comes Envy. They're looking for that line of sight.
All right, so they're going to slowly creep up this hillside. They have to assume somebody's inside this building complex. They're just playing for information. So maybe whenever they peek around these rocks, they can kind of figure anything out. See, Venerade's just kind of playing back behind that rock and just jiggle back and forth, trying to see if anybody's going to take any pot shots over at it.
It's worth noting the discipline of these teams. When we were scrimming this out, I mean, we saw, and you see Noble now coming around as well. United might.
Let's just go ahead and make this a party. Put it right on the edge of the circle. Let's bring Noble in here as well. Let's just go ahead and have a huge firefight popping off here in just a second.
So this is what I was talking about. Now Shoot to Kill's got another circle in the zone where they don't have to move. And oh my God, Will almost going down to that zone. But you know what? Envy's going to hear those vehicles. They might want to rotate that way and start to punish the late-breaking Noble.
Taylor J, I thought, might look back down on that angle, but instead is going to go for a position. Right now, everybody's still just trying to vie for some form of safety, but you can see Shoot to Kill. They hear the vehicles. You can see little arrows looking back over there. A couple of shots now coming back over to Boom and Adaculus.
The southern side is still unable to sort itself out. Y10 Fate's still holding onto the zone, but Shoot to Kill is now looking at all these teams approaching their compound. They are definitely feeling the heat now.
You can see United's kind of moving their way a little bit further north. The whole time, Envy is just kind of creeping their way back up that hill just to the south of Shoot to Kill. They're starting to feel a little bit of pressure. You can tell they're bouncing from every single sight line that they can possibly get. They know somebody just drove up. Noble has to make a very hard choice now. Which direction do they want to push?
I think United heard them push up. They heard the vehicles coming, and now Noble's going to start taking fire from Envy. Noble tried to get that flank around, but Envy's spotting it out.
Noble's in a horrible spot here, but it's also it's going to be Shoot to Kill. Pat Caps is going to try and snipe on both sides. If it's going to be Envy and Shoot to Kill fighting, that gives Noble a path, but they just can't find a way into the zone right now.
But here comes the problem. If you're Noble, which direction you go? You now have been forced to shift away. Envy's not going to let you go that direction. You know that Shoot to Kill's got to be up at the top of it. Noble now is going to have to circle back behind where United was at and might be third party. The whole time, Oxy's Basher is just listening to what's happening up here. Everybody right now is just trying to vie for some level of control, and these teams have some idea on what's happening. But down towards the south, there's so much going on, and that's going to be Venerated. Taro finding out Boom, and that's going to be a Noble player going down.
Pat Cap still trying to find that line of sight onto the Shoot to Kill players inside the compound, but this is going to be very difficult for anything to happen for Noble. The zone is now going to be at their backs.
Oh, there's a multitude of fights happening all over the map right now as you see guys keying in on Noble's Will. He's going to go down. That's going to be it for Will, unless they're able to get this. You see Edag has the smoke out. The shots are going to come
retaliation coming from Tempo Storm on the other angle for this. They were slowly encroaching on the other side of it, but now that's kind of forced everything to go full chaos at this stage. Purdy has left the control point of the buildings, left the safety. He wants to make sure that he can force Envy to move away.
Tempo is so good at this. They hear a fight and they're going to start to punish, and there's Zampa shooting in the back. Shoot to kill still moving around this compound. Looks like they're going to condense into 2 buildings and try and defend. He is so low.
There he goes. It's going to be Basher that's going to go ahead and get that kill. Remember, those guys were sitting off the side the whole time just listening, so Basher's going to mop up that kill and take it down. It was too slow. Those guys were just beating in for too long. They were just getting a feel for what was happening, but they never capitalized off of it, and now everybody's third-partying into this fight.
Envy slowly just got sandwiched by teams who heard their shots. They came over and started to punish, but look at this now. Noble's got that can opener, and they are right on top of Shoot to Kill. The nades coming in from Edak. He's trying to dislodge him, and he will get one. Alo is down.
Will made that push right up into the bottom story, right next to Adam, but he's going to run right into the bullets. That's going to be a flush coming through, but Adakula steps around the corner, gets taken down as well. Adam narrowly holds that point, but Butch coming on the other side of the angle, trying to survive, trying to keep his teammate hard. No! Noble is now down and out, eliminated in 15.
That's that strong compound. It's super hard to break it open. They tried to use their utility. They tried to get in. They pressed off that one grenade down, but when they condensed, that Shoot to Kill, recondensed in those 2 buildings, they completely wiped Noble.
But look, United knows what's going on, saw the fight, knows the location, realizes Shoot to Kill might be weak.
Wow.
Now crunching around that same location, but look over on that west side. There are so many teams over there. Now gonna have to move back in. There's a little bit of safety there, Poro, but not a lot.
Not a whole lot, indeed. You can see on the southern part of the circle, Vicious Gaming was taken out in 16th place, being gate-kept by Ghost and Whites and Fake. Ghost still trying to make their way in. You can see Purdy trying to take some shots here at Pistola time, but he's going to get third-partied as well.
He's going to have to drop back down off of that, and yes, that's going to be on Civil. It hits a nice shot. Looks like they're going to throw some smokes out there, going to try to go for the flush onto this, but everybody is just playing right along this edge at the time.
It is just waves crashing on the rocks of Shoot to Kill right now, but Purdy is going to get aggressive. He's going to run out and try and grab that all-important kill, and that is going to be, now he's going to commit to this. He's going to just throw that grenade and try and fish with dynamite, and he's going to try and retreat. I was going to say that's very brave for Purdy. Stick with your advantage.
Looks like they were contemplating making their way back down there, maybe trying to get some loot or something.
Taylor J going to try to take some shots here. I was going to say that with the Shoot to Kill needs to push out from that compound. Zampa all by himself out in the middle of the open. Taylor J going to take a little bit of blue damage. You can see the blue is pushing in very, very slowly. He's got to stay behind this rock, but he's not going to have much rock left to call home here.
How did Zampa survive through that? There we go. It's going to be full flush coming out. Cloud9's going to take down Space Station Gaming as well. So Zampa still holding this angle. United down and out. We're down to 11 teams, 34 still alive at the direct time, but it's still up towards the north.
I think Zampa forgot about the fact that maybe Taylor J was still there or just didn't see him. He almost got caught out there, but ultimately it's going to be Zampa prevailing and staying strong for his team.
But yeah, Shoot to Kill, we were talking about this compound. The circle always seems to find this compound.
And on the edge, like on the very edge.
Always seems to find it, but usually when you see it, the team that takes this compound doesn't end up getting a whole bunch of kills to go along with it. Right now, Shoot to Kill pushing out from it, they're getting these kills that they need.
It's because most teams don't push that compound. It's so hard to take. And when teams just want to crash against you like that, it's basically free kills.
Yeah. You can see the amount of defense that Shoot to Kill has at the time. They managed to weather a full breach coming through from Noble. They've been handling multiple third parties coming into effect. Really, Tempo Storm's trying to figure out how they're going to play this, but Lazarus looks like they might find themselves in a little bit of a dangerous spot. They've got a lot of teams around them. They still need to make their way inside the circle, but look, Taro is just stalking like a cat up on that hillside, letting Lazarus move down in front of them, just biding his time, waiting for this trap to go off.
He's feeding information to his teammates. Now they're going to set up a trap formation here. They've got Caden in the front, Taro on the side, and now it's going to be coming in from the rear as well, but Caden goes down.
All right, that was the big point on this, but Pat Caps is already committed. Back in front of me, you can see Lazarus Sub-Zero is going to take a lot of damage. He's going to go ahead and get down. Looking back up the hillside, gonna get spun back around on it. Envy is eliminated as their front men went down first.
Coming down the side of the hill was a mistake for Envy. That's a rough position to be in, and it looks like Lazarus just decided to punish them. Only one player left, but look at that, 3 kills for Felix there.
Fantastic gunplay by Felix. You can see the zone is pushing in. He's sitting outside currently.
Yeah.
He should be able to be okay. They should be able to get both back up, but now Tempo, you can see pushing right on top of Wildcard.
Already at 5 kills at this point. Maluke's making his way up the hillside. Pride is just watching, trying to be as patient as he can. He's just hiding inside their bushes on the hillside. Already had a lot of damage coming their way. Simplicity is off on a similar angle to this, but you can tell Luke's starting to get a feeling something's a little bit fishy here, so he's going to retreat back away from it.
A little snaky in here as Felix going to go ahead and loot up here as Shoot to Kill is now forced to move out of their compound. You can see them using the hill just to the south side, try to see if they can get vision on anything around them. They know that Oxy was there earlier. I'm not sure if they know about Lazarus, though.
This is where it's going to be up to Shoot to Kill to come off the back of that strong compound hold and make a play for the endgame game. We're in the top 10 teams now, and they're going to have to let go of that
there we
come
go.
in.
Valier just walks up, gets himself one more kill, pushing YTEM Fate up to 5. They are inside the safe zone, but you can see OxyClam down on the minimap. He's essentially smack dab in the middle of it, but he's all by his lonesome. Lazarus looking back, trying to make their way up this hillside, shoot to kill, finally getting their sights set on him.
This is going to be important for them. If they can pick up another couple of frags here, that's going to be more than 4 for them already. And they're going to chuck nades and actually come back off of that. I think that's a hard sightline to hold for them.
That was so close to actually hitting Sub-Zero. Look at that. Going to retreat back away from it, but Tempo Storm, they were already at 5 kills just a second ago. They are racking them up over on the other side of this. Shoot to kill, still trying to get control over this part of the circle, but I think they finally bought themselves the space. Really, it's Lazarus. Sub-Zero's having to fight his way right up into it. It's going to be YTEM Fate. Can't get the spray back over.
Good shots from
Fate
Hetror.
still holding that line, but now we're back over with Shoot to Kill. Tempo Storm got some sight lines back over towards each other. Shoot to Kill has been getting control over that area just to the north of Shoot to Kill.
This is looking like Tempo Storm and Shoot to Kill are going to battle for this edge side of the zone now. YTEM Fate's cleared out the southern side, but Shoot to Kill is now feeling the pressure from both sides, coming uphill from YTEM Fate and from the side from Tempo Storm.
Yeah, you hear the Shoot to Kill taking the long-range shots at YTEM Fate while they're trying to cross out in the open on the southern side, but they need to be worried more about Tempo Storm. You can see Zampa pushing right up on top of them.
And you know what Tempo
He's
Storm
in
needs
grenade
right now?
range.
They're just going to go ahead and have a crate drop right next to them, so they're going to have to figure out whether or not they want to go from that. I think that's going to be in a very safe position for them to go ahead. That could be some armor and helmets that they really need at this stage since they've been fighting so much.
Shoot to Kill has got very little cover to work with. They're going to have to use their smokes and move around, but not before Tempo Storm starts to get shots on them, and they're going to retreat. That's rough for Shoot to Kill.
Sharky holding that angle, just looking back down over towards it. Shoot to Kill all stacked right next to each other. That's so dangerous when you have somebody that's got that hillside that can look back down onto it. And look, it's our boy Zampa on the minimap, slowly creeping his way back down right next to everybody from Shoot to Kill. If he pops up at any given moment, he could get so much damage off, but it's going to be third parties that are going to start forcing him away. YTEM Fate really scaring Zampa backing away.
YTEM Fate is doing them a huge favor, man. That's going to prevent Tempo Storm from pushing on to Shoot to Kill. And again, another shift coming to their side, and that's going to be the zone for Zampa and very few other players inside now.
Sharky and Maluk were feeding information to Zampa. They wanted Zampa to know exactly where the Shoot to Kill players were, so he knew where to throw the grenades. Unfortunately, Zampa gets spotted out by YTEM Fate. He is able to reposition now, but now Zampa needs his teammates to be able to refeed him that information again.
Our boy Clam that was hanging out by his lonesome finally taken down, but Zampa looking back up that hillside. Sharky's drawing a little bit of attention to himself. Got some bullets coming his way as Tempo Storm still sitting at 7 kills, but Shoot to Kill really trying to capitalize off of this reposition as Zampa's still in that dangerous spot. So, Adam looking up that hillside there. Is he going to be able to connect with anything onto it? YTEM Fate still playing that low ground. Shoot to Kill has been hiding behind these trees just trying to survive for as long as they can. But look, Zampa is right up in their face at this point. There it goes, getting the spray off. Purdy takes a lot of damage, but does go down. They're going back over. And look at that. Zampa is just holding them back.
That was
but it's so risky at this point. Going to go ahead and opt into using a little bit of utility. And Sharky's got his back with a couple of bullets, trying to just draw attention away.
They're running out of cover. They're running out of cover here. Shoot to Kill is going to be frozen into the open.
Now with this, Tempo Storm did get control over the circle first. They realize they have that capitalized position. They're starting to make their way down the hillside. They're using the smokes, trying to use what utility they can. Zampa was that point man trying to buy them that position. Adam's taking a lot of damage there. So Sharky still holding that Overwatch spot. Nade goes out. Maluk down on turn. Still looking back over there. Gonna have to see how this is gonna go. Back and forth. Looks like a return res for both. Nade's still gonna go back and forth. Are they gonna try to get this down off of it? I think the Nade's gonna land a little bit too short. That next one might follow up.
Good
but
shot,
it's gonna be Sharky still holding that angle up there. He is keeping Tempo Storm alive. Zampa wants to go for this res, but it's all gonna be based off of Sharky's protection.
Sharky's gonna have to be aggro here. Keep the pressure.
Oh, this is bad.
He's so
now
close.
It's just onto Zampa, and they know they have a little bit more control. But trying to get the shots back off, and Zampa gets the shots off, and Shoot to Kill is now down and out.
Zampa crushed that. That was a lot of damage coming out from him. YTEM Fate eliminates and finishes Wolf, and they're on a ton of kills right now.
All right, and here we are. 3 teams left, 8 people alive, all things considered, and half of the total lobby right now is YTEM Fate sitting at 10 kills. These guys have so much control of this bottom part of the circle. Really, one member from Endemic is the only thing that keeps him from going back up from Tempo Storm at the direct time.
Something with 4 kills already for himself as well. So this is going to be an interesting fight. It does seem like YTEM Fate does know where he is. I'm not sure if they know where Tempo is, but God, we're going to have to go back and analyze that fight with Tempo. That was such amazing teamwork coming out.
This is looking now like it's going to be Tempo Storm and YTEM Fate. YTEM Fate with the advantage, the man advantage. Now Tempo Storm is looking. They can hear those shots, and they're looking to finish off any other teams. They want those points.
It depends on which direction Endemic something looks. He's still on that hillside. You can see Tempo Storm is flanking back up behind them. YTEMP Fate knows he's there. They're just not letting him roll into any given point. They always have to commit one person back up that angle, and right now it's Hypoc. You can see Maluk has now moved up into a similar location. Depending on which direction something decides to look and take those first couple of shots, he could really influence this last little bit of a fight. And with that, you can see Tempo Storm's now taking the shot. Something's looking back up this hillside. This could be very, very dangerous for Tempo.
YTEMP Fate has great map control. They have so much of the map on the southern side to themselves. Tempo Storm is doing a 2-1 split, and that last man from Endemic is playing a factor.
So you got to be worried if you're YTEMP Fate here about a down. They are split. They are spread out. They're trying to gain as much information as they possibly can. I think they have an idea where Tempo might be, but you got to be worried about that first fight.
Here you go. Zampa is in this forefront position. He's all by himself. The other two members of Tempo Storm playing up towards the top of the hill. They're all going to spot out Endemic, so now they're down. Just 2 teams remaining. It's a 3-man Tempo Storm versus 4 members from YTEMP Fate. But remember, Zampa is in that separated position. He's got the rock. If he goes down, this could be so bad. He's going to take the shots and draw a little bit of attention this direction.
That's going to be a little bit rough for him. That's going to point a lot of attention his way. For Zampa, he needs to get it down quickly.
That was intentional, though. Really smart play coming out from Zampa, wanting to give his position up to let Maluk and Sharky reposition from where they currently were. I think that YTEMP Fate knew where they were after the shots they took to get the final down onto Endemic.
Now here comes the question. Is this just a bait smoke that he's thrown back behind him? Is he trying to play the mind games? Or it looks like, no, he's trying to commit to this. But Hetror is so good with these nades. It's just going to be a fadeaway. You can see Zampa has to go for a reposition off of it. Valiant's still looking back up from where he knows those other 2 angles came from. So now we are on the last circle. Everything's going to condense down right smack dab into the middle, and it's going to be YTEMP Fate that actually has the closer path onto it. But Sharky, Maluk have bullets going right over Valiant's head.
Tempo Storm has a great contain right now. They might be able to get that initial down, but it's not going to go. It's going to go to YTEMP Fate. Baja Waka takes down Sharky.
All right, and here we go. We've got Maluk on a different angle. Spots out one, trying to get the down onto Valiant, but the shots are going wide. Not enough damage committing onto that. So now it's all onto Maluk. He's looking back down into 4 YTEMP Fate faces, and he has to hit the shots of his life, and he's not going to get it. The very first NPL round winner is going to be YTEMP Fate with 13 kills.
What a dominating performance coming out of YTEMP Fate. They took the great position early on, and they just fought their way up from that point. 13 kills. My God, that's huge.
Off the back of some great positioning, some great kills, 13 kills. What a first game for YTEMP Fate. These boys gotta love that.
I mean, this is one of the unsigned orgs that came through there. They designed those jerseys. These guys are trying to put on a show. They want to draw as much attention as they can, and getting that first round victory, that's going to be exactly the path that they want.
It's 23 points. We can do the quick math now. I love it. I love it. I'm actually a huge fan of that. But no, look, so Tempo coming in second place with 10 kills as well. That's going to be a huge performance for them. Another 16 points as well. You can see Endemic coming in third, Shoot to Kill in fourth, and Simplicity rounding out the top 5.
I gotta say, Endemic, we didn't get a chance to really follow too much of what they had going on, but they managed to get up into third place, got themselves 4 kills. Naturally, we talked about at the very beginning, they just got signed, so you know, the Endemic guys got to be feeling pretty good about that.
Look, they had a great rotation. They came in late across the Georgia Pole Bridge, managed to make their way into the northwestern part of the circle, and just kind of slow played it from there.
A smart rotation from Endemic, but the question there for me is, Shoot to Kill, they had that great compound. They had a lot of time in that compound, but once they got outside, it was a little bit of a rocky road as everyone started to look their way. That eastern side was a mess.
I felt so bad. Shoot to Kill had that position. They got caught in all those fights, but it was all these latecomers that just kept flanking up around them, getting caught in all the fights. They kept kind of taking all the kills that they were having to vie for and wither all the bullets from.
Well, they still managed to finish. What did they finish? I can't say.
Fourth place.
Okay, fourth place. They still managed to finish fourth place with 4 kills, so not a bad performance, but considering how much of the circle they had, and like we said, that compound obviously known for having the circle fall on it, but again, I know we're beating a dead horse here, but you usually don't get that many kills. But it's because it's so hard to push out from it. Like you said, nobody really pushes into it.
I got to say, though, YTEMP Fate, that is a massive amount of kills. Came in, still had all 4 members up. They were very decisive at every single stage along that way. I mean, they got the kills. They got the round victory. They didn't lose a member. That is a phenomenal first round stage.
4 strong in the end game is how you win. And and they took map control. They had a great southern side. And I think that they quietly, because they had that center position, just kind of walked their way up that southern side and did a lot of damage.
Well, it wasn't too quiet. I mean, they got so many kills based off of that. There was a blood trail coming back behind them. But enough hearing from us. We got Seltzers down there with one of the members from YTEMP Fate. You guys take it away.
Thank you so much, guys. I am down here with Hypoc, and that was an excellent way to start off the season. A strong win from YTEMP Fate. Let's break it down. You guys, first of all, dropped pretty close to Simplicity. Tell me your thoughts on that. Was there enough loot to go around?
Yeah, I mean, we've been pretty aware of what's been going on around school and apps. Simplicity have had a hard time fighting Shoot to Kill and Lazarus initially, but I think they've got the space to themselves now, so we're actually spreading out a bit to kind of get some space off them in the middle of the map, so.
Yeah, talk to me a little bit more about how you spread out. You guys went for Cube, but before then you pulled some interesting things off.
Yeah, I mean, typically it's only really me and Baja that drop into Rosog. Valley 8 takes the east compound and then head drops further west towards Watertown. But we're pretty much going to be the first team to, the prime real estate in the center of this first circle. So we took Cube, and I mean, we had some good first circles, and we managed to pick up some free kills on the people that had to cross in the water. So that's always a nice touch as well.
Yeah, you got some free kills there looking out over the water there. Was that just a bonus, or was that part of your plan to hold Cube?
I mean, it's always part of the plan. We scouted out a couple of teams that were fighting over in ruins, so we knew they were going to have to cross at some point. So at that point, they didn't choose to fight each other. They're kind of just free kills at that point when they're swimming across. So.
Well, you guys got lots of experience playing on stage here for opening week, but things have changed up a little bit. We've changed the rules a little bit, and now we've got LAN here at the studio. Any big differences for you guys and your team?
I mean, I actually believe the new settings really do suit our playstyle quite a lot. We're fairly passive early game in terms of taking fights, but we're always quite aggressive with taking positioning. So I think these new settings really play to our strengths as a team. So it's going to be interesting to see how the season pans out.
Great, and you've had some time off since that opening week. What kind of preparations have you done to prepare yourself now for this long season ahead?
I mean, really, it's just been adjusting to the new settings. Teams are kind of still trying to feel each other out and see how people are playing. But like I said, these faster-paced games and the quicker circles, they definitely play to our strengths.
Well, they're playing to your strengths. You guys are doing well. Excellent match on the first round. But as we said, many games ahead. How's your team looking cohesion-wise, communication-wise?
I mean, communication is one of our strongest points. I feel like coming towards the late game, that's when we kind of, if we're still 4 up, that's when we'll step up and start taking fights and being aggressive. So I think communication is obviously key, and when the fights break out in late game.
Well, congratulations to you, HiPoc. We'll see where YTempt Fate goes for the rest of the season, as well as all the other teams behind me, right after this quick commercial break.